Hi, I'm Pooja Dasgupta and I'm an associate at CM Murray, and I'm joined here today by my mum, Dalia Dasgupta, who is HR Director at the University of East London. And so today, in support of this year's International Women's Day theme for 2022, I thought it would be nice to reflect on the invaluable efforts of women across the globe at all levels who have, in their own ways, sought to break the bias, which is obviously this year's theme. And I wanted to invite my mum to share any particular experiences that she's contended with during her career in which she has felt that she has had to break the bias.
I was actually having a conversation in my university last week because we are doing some activities for the International Women's Day. And something I was reflecting on was when Pooja was maybe about 18 months old, and I took a little career break for a couple of years when I was staying at home, looking after my children. That was expected to be the norm for a lot of my peer groups at the time. And after about 18 months or so, I wanted to do a little bit, of work outside of the home and have my own little career. And that was frowned upon, by my friends at the time and people who had, their husbands or partners, relatively well off and could support, their wives and children at the time. And I think it was an expectation that, you would just stay at home and look after the kids. And it's not really the right thing for women to go outside of the house and look for a career for themselves. So I reflected on my position at the time, and I took the decision, supported by my husband, I must say, to take some part-time work. And so I was working as a part-time, HR advisor. And that's, I think, paved the route for where I am today. So I do think that, there are some perceptions that occasionally in your career, you have to be brave enough to overcome, to get to where you want to be and balance home and life, work together.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mum. And so as we can see just from Mum's brief story, so much of the groundwork has already been laid by incredible women and, of course, male allies to allow us to indeed to forge this inclusive world and actually try and break the bias in any way that we can. But as always, there remains more to be done. But I wanted to take the opportunity to thank my mum, to thank all those incredible women in my own professional context, the women kind of reaching those senior most leadership positions and showing that we can continue to break the bias together and live in a far more inclusive world. So today we pledge to continue to call out stereotypes, to call out discrimination and to break the bias.
I think it's important to mark International Women's Day, a global day of celebration of female achievement and an acknowledgement of the accelerating parity of gender equality. We're not quite there. In the UK, for example, the gender pay gap still sits at 15.4%. But we can see that the government is taking matters seriously and this year has devoted debate and consultation as to whether or not menopause should be given a protected characteristic in law, which would give women greater protection in the workplace. And when parliamentary time allows, the government have said it will debate additional protections for victims of sexual harassment and how to prevent it in the first place, the majority of which in the workplace is committed against women. Women are more proportionate within the legal sector now. 39% of barristers in the UK are women, 52% of solicitors are women, and 76% of legal executives. Women are still underrepresented at senior levels, whether that's in law firms or in the judiciary. I firmly believe that this is something which is going to stay on the agenda of people who can bring about change, whether that's interested bodies, senior management, the Law Society, all looking at different ways to increase diversity within our profession. And for this reason, I'm supporting International Women's Day this year in calling out the bias. If you see stereotyping, discrimination, harassment, don't be afraid to call it out.
I was once told this riddle about a father and his son who get into a horrific car accident. They're both badly hurt and rushed to separate hospitals. And when the boy is taken in for an operation, the surgeon says, "I can't operate on this boy. He's my son." And the riddle is, how is this possible? The answer? The surgeon is a woman. It's his mother. But when we first hear it, we're stumped because we have stereotypes and assume the surgeon will be a man. Now, I want to live in a world where this riddle becomes obsolete, and where a surgeon, a CEO, a politician, whatever role is just as likely to be a woman as it is a man. And that is why on International Women's Day, I am striking the break the bias pose, so we can break biases and break stereotypes.